So, for this episode of Shift Happens Catalyst Conversations, I'm connecting once again with Luciana, who was also on my previous podcast and who I also know through my big network. And like I've said many times before, I'm super grateful for the network that I have because my network allows me to connect to people like Luciana, who is calling in from South Africa right now, and I just get to talk to so many amazing people. And Luciana, she's somebody who's like a leader in the wellness space. She has 20 years of expertise in the wellness world, also as an athlete. And she is a former pro athlete after all. So this for me is also super powerful. And when I talked to her in my old podcast, we also found out that okay, she was actually like Olympic athlete. It was like the university version of this, but still it was like, oh my god, I know somebody who went to the Olympic Games. It's like, wow, this is so amazing. So using this expertise, using her own mindset and experience as a pro athlete, she's now a mentor, coach, and also an expert in helping people reconnect with their bodies and also their healing abilities. And it's not only about the body, although she has this athletic background, it's also about the mental side, the spiritual side, and also the emotional side. So, welcome, Lucian. So
Oh,
happy
thank
to
you,
see you
Silja. Thank
here.
you, thank you. I am so happy to be here and to share this space with you again, as you mentioned, and your audience. I really appreciate the work you do in bringing all these conversations to people who are seeking change and growth. I watched some of your other podcasts and they're all amazing, so powerful. So thank you for having me here. I feel so honored.
Yeah, so this podcast is all about transformation, and that's where I actually want to start. Like, what transformation means to you, because I know that you have helped many, many people to shift their lives in many different ways, release the pain, and also reconnect with themselves on physical, spiritual, emotional, and all these different levels. So, what kind of transformation are you actually putting people through, guiding
Yeah,
them to
thank you
go
for that
through?
question. Transformation is a buzzword lately, right? And for me, it's not just about changing habits or mindset. It is about shifting how we experience ourselves in this world. As you were saying, in all the levels. My framework is PSME, which is physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional, as a holistic being. It is about remembering that we are not just thoughts or just emotions or just physical sensations, but we are energy that is constantly in motion. So when people work with me, they not just feel better, they reconnect with their own vitality, confidence, and inner peace. And that's really my aim. Guiding people through practical ways to reset their nervous system. I mean, we are so overwhelmed, burnout, stress. So people can actually release it, let it go. And but the main point is to tap into each of the person's self-healing capacity. I'm all about healing. As cheesy as it sounds, health is our greatest wealth. And we can have a lot of small problems and this and that at work, and family connections. But when we have one big health problem, all the others disappeared immediately, right? When I do these workshops, many arrive feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, disconnected with their bodies, with their families. And at the end, they leave feeling lighter, more centered, rejuvenating, and all by just tapping into their own energy.
Wow, wow. I really love that you have this holistic approach. And yeah, we have a similar background that has holistic wellness coaches. So you're really taking all these different aspects of a person into account. And I feel that this is so crucial to know that you're not just a body, you're not just your mind, you're not only your emotions, you have many different layers. So where is this coming from? Is it coming from your own experience, having all these different things?
Yeah,
What's the
yeah.
background for
Look, I'm
this?
getting the goosebumps when you ask me this question. Yes, look, we all have our life experience, and there have been moments when I needed these tools more than ever. Tools that I learned, and look, I'm a forever learner. I'm still learning. Anything that I learn, I come and bring it into my workshops. So for my own transformations, yeah, like that time when I confidently said yes, yes, yes to way too many things, thinking I had superhuman powers, and infinite energy without balancing it with rest. I believe we have there's infinite amount of energy, but it still needs to be balanced because it's holistic. We need, we need challenge and support to grow. We need rest and active. We need both. So yeah, by saying yes, yes, yes to so many things, and forgetting about to balance nourishment and rest, I only, found myself emotionally stressed, eating at night or going into bed with also the emotional part of it, with bread on my cheek, like, I'm questioning life. So my own healing journey is what led me to this work, which I absolutely love. And yeah, I had faced my own physical limitations as well. For example, there was 6 months when I was in high school, and all I wanted to do was to, yeah, go to school. Okay, I didn't want to go to school, but I had to, right? But go to school, come back, lay on the couch, watch the soapies, like telenovelas we call it, and eating there, going back to bed, to school, 6 months, over and over again. So yeah, these physical, or it's actually emotional blocks as well, and deep-seated patterns. And this is when we do the work for those deep-seated patterns to break them, right? Just another quick example. There was one time when I felt literally stuck. I could not stand up straight from the pain I had in my stomach area, and the diagnosis was an ulcer. My body was carrying, tension and pain that not amount of like stretching, or at that point in time anything could really fix it. So that was also the area when the time when I started exploring even more actively all these deeper healing methods like qigong, breath work, and the microcosmic orbit, which is what I am like really sharing with people at the moment. Also the power of the vagus nerve. I mean, we have everything we need, you know
Wow. So you were actually inspired by your own pain and by your own needs. And you felt this. So for you, the catalyst, it was yourself. You felt, okay, I want to feel better. So I will need to explore and just heal myself. This is so powerful. You have the power inside you.
Yes, yes.
And
I
it,
think the thing is to be open and then allow it to come out, because we all have it. We all have these inner abilities to do it. And just one last thing, one of the most profound shifts that happened is when I began to see my body as energy in motion, not just muscles and bones. And that's when we stop forcing healing, and we start allowing, and it happens naturally. And every single each of us, we can do it by helping the body, supporting it, giving what it needs, nutrients, rest, moving, all of it. Yeah.
wow. But I also know that at some point you got really serious about sports. How did you transform into an athlete from this person who was like on the sofa, not wanting to get up? How did you become like athlete?
I am an athlete, and I've been an athlete my whole life. I've been active since I probably was in the womb, already doing things. So I play a lot of sports. Even when I was in high school, primary school, high school, I was already representing the highest levels that I could at that point in time. But then things happened, like traumas, emotional things happened. And then I stopped for 6 months, literally. And yes, being the couch also means no sport, all those things, but also no connections, no relationships, of course, nothing. I am still very social. I had to start switching things so I can go back to my original blueprint. And then I went back into my active self. So I will say I was always an active person, very young energy, active fire, And what I can tell you is, yes, I've been playing. Also, I'm from Argentina, so before I did a lot of things for Argentina in terms of sports. As you mentioned, yes, I played for South Africa at the Students Olympics. It was amazing to have that experience, and yeah, to see the torch and have the feeling, and being the opening ceremony part of it is like a dream come true, right? So for me, it's like fueling my being, like the energy that I already carry, which each of us have as well.
Wow. It's just already inside you and you just found a way
Exactly,
how
to express
to
it, I
unlock
say.
it.
Yeah, and it does
Yeah.
change. I mean, we change, we
Wow.
transform. We're talking about shifts and transformations. We change, we grow our body. I mean, if we talk physical,
Mhm.
hormones, the body will change. It's changing. And I mean, you cannot compare a baby, a toddler, a young adult, an adult. We start changing, so we have to shift. So it's great what you're doing. So thank you for that.
Yeah. You have to shift to fit into
Yes.
the life. Yeah, I would say that right now I'm also like shifting. So I was an athlete, more than 10 years of running, then 5 years of bodybuilding, and now I'm like, I actually want a family. So I think it was like a week ago when I was training with this local group that I have in Barcelona here. And I was telling this guy who led this training that I don't know, I'm like, my body is kind of like sore and I'm not lazy, but I just had this kind of exercise and I'm having like some kind of existential crisis about being an athlete or not being an athlete. Then he was like, oh, what are you now? I'm like, I don't know what I'm now. So, and then I realized that the journey that my body wants to take on now, it's no longer the journey of an athlete, although I'm still training very heavy. I'm lifting the heaviest weights ever in my life now. But my body's kind of preparing to this new journey of, okay, I actually want a family and I want to have the journey of being a mother. So for women, this is always like the journey of a body as well. For men, it's slightly different, but it's like, okay, I've been having this existential identity crisis because I'm like still holding on to this identity of an athlete, but also like transforming into wanting something new. And I guess, we are always shifting, we're always transforming into new versions of ourselves. And even if I'm like super single right now, I'm like, okay, I want a family and I'm kind of like getting ready for this in my mind. And also, maybe my body also wants to be in a specific way to fit into this role. But yeah, I guess many people who are going through shifts, transformations, they have a lot of self doubt, maybe some limiting beliefs, some blockages. And because, change can be scary and it's maybe a little bit more comfortable to stay the same. But if you really want to change, you also have to go through the blocks and beliefs that hold you back. How do you help people to move through that
That's a
self
great
doubt?
question because we all have these limiting beliefs and self-doubt, self-worth. Well, first, we have to recognize that these doubts are not truth. They're just stories we have repeated so often that they feel real. And I'm so blessed and grateful that I have quite a big toolbox with a lot of tools and still learning, right? But one of the biggest or most amazing tools that I use is Psyche, which helps me and others because I can also do it on myself. Most of the things are I'm able to practice it on myself. And the idea is to create perception shifts. So when we change how we view a situation, we can find peace and detachment from that situations. So for instance, instead of asking why is this happening to me, becoming a victim mode, we may ask, what is this teaching me? How does this situation affect the other person? So also by getting a different perspective of the same thing, it can give us a sense of calm. Okay. I can give you a quick example. Once I worked with someone who carried deep physical pain from an old injury, and they believed the body was broken. But when we worked together to shift that perception, this person began to see the body as an ally and not an enemy. And once this shift happened, pain started to move and pain started to ease. So it's this ease of flow to an opposite of
Mhm.
this ease that we get when we have pain. So yeah, it's very powerful. That's one of the ways I use. And also we were speaking about moving energy, and there's a course that I have about the microcosmic orbit, which is the essence of who we are. By shifting that energy, moving it around, we create flow. When we create flow, there's no stagnation. Pain equals to stagnation, an accumulation of energy from an energy point of view. So yeah, it's very important to shift the perspective for transformation.
So it sounds like it all starts with kind of like a decision. and kind of like shifting your perspective, because the thing happening to you, it will still be the same, but you can change how you react and how you perceive it. And after you will start working with it, and like you said, and for this you're using this microcosmic orbit. So what does it mean? So we have this big cosmos, okay, but the microcosmos, this is like a small tiny
Exactly.
cosmos
Yeah,
kind
you're
of
right.
thingy.
The macrocosmic orbit comes from Taoism, which is one way is like how everything is energy, and quantum physics also backs up this idea that everything is energy. We are energy. So, in fact, when we were conceived, there are 21 days until we get the heart to start pumping. I mean, let's think about it. We are a miracle. Sperm, egg, explosion together, something happens, the kidneys start, this all these connections web system through the umbilical cord start growing, right? And within those 21 days before the heart starts beating, the microcosmic orbit is already functioning within you. And so you are the microcosmic orbit. And as you were saying, macrocosmos, so we are energy. Here is the same as this. The difference between this physical, my body, and this energy or something else is the density. So is the difference is the way it vibrates. So yes, we are, and this is the basics of Taoism. We are nature. So we feed from nature, from the cosmos, and that's energy that comes in as well, because it's the same. At the end of the day, it's the same. We are part of it. I mean, they say we are stardust. Yes, we are. So the microcosmic orbit is a practice to help you awaken these energy centers that we have all over the body, and which allows your own energy to be moved within inside your body. You can use this energy for whatever thing you want. If you have a project, you want to conceive, right? We want to create something, but we could also heal. And my focus is on healing because, like, I work with a lot of CEOs, leaders, and people that have, high positions, so stressful positions. Again, health is our greatest wealth, right? So by awakening these points, we move the energy. Imagine a river. When it flows, there's always crystal clear water carrying nutrients, taking waste out and carrying nutrients. That's the same thing that happens inside us. We just need to remember that we've got it, and we just need to activate it or awaken it. That's it. I mean, it's actually quite simple. We just forgot how to do it. We don't know how to do it because it's not really taught everywhere. So that's why I love sharing this and helping people to apply it.
Yeah, so it's all about movement. It's a movement in the body, movement in your emotions and your social life and like everything. So you start moving the energy, and this way you actually rejuvenate and you fill up the storage again, fill up your energy stores to do like anything. So like productive stuff or maybe social life, enjoying life. For everything you need energy, and I understand that this working on these microcosmic points helps move the
Yes,
energy and
it's
get
literally a
really,
continuous
you
flow.
know,
Energy is not static, it is a continuous flow of
mm,
energy becoming matter. The energy becomes matter, and the matter dissolving into energy. We are always changing. Imagine water. Water is too hot, becomes gas. If it's too cold, it becomes ice, right? But it's the same. It's just a different form.
wow. So water,
Like Bruce Lee.
basically. Yeah, just flow and be more water. So is it, this sounds got a lot of like feminine
Well,
yin energy as
yes,
well?
yin and yang. Yin
Like,
and yang are two opposites that are both needed. They are interdependent. They are like the one side of the same coin. Okay, so they're different, but they cannot be separated. The yin and yang sign, which is the, you know it, right? Yeah, with the dot.
yeah, yeah, the black and white, and
Exactly,
then you have this white dot in the
exactly.
black and the black dot in the
Exactly.
white
So, for
space.
example,
So
we
yeah,
have
it's all
yin
like,
and organs and yang organs within the body. For example, the outside of the body is yang. Yang is active, is the sun, fire, movement. Yin is the feminine, internal. So this part of the arm will be yin, this part will be yang. It's the same arm. It has both things. For example, if we translate that into our daily life, yang will be the day, sun, fire, yin will be the night, cool, resting, more feminine, as you said. For example, I said to you that the microcosmic orbit goes around like this. The front channel, and this is what we open up and awaken, is the yin channel and flows down. And in the back, you have the yang channel. And you want these two to be open and be in constant movement. So, yeah, it's both. It's actually the whole thing.
So what happens if one of the channels is kind of like stuck? Does it manifest itself as a
Well,
disease in the body?
exactly. We want flow, all the time flow. Imagine roads. You want roads to be open to travel faster. Imagine a highway. If there are roadblocks, you will have bottlenecks. When you have bottlenecks, people start getting frustrated, shouting, hooting, angry, right? That's the excess of energy. From an energetic point of view, an excess of energy is pain, or pain is an excess of energy. And if we are talking about moving and allowing the energy to move, when it doesn't move and gets stuck, it gives us pain. If the energy gets stuck in the stomach, might give us an ulcer, right? That's what happened to me. Stress will, for me, goes to the stomach. After that, stress, I would stay in my mind for too long, too much. Keep a thought for something maybe even insignificant. Now that I know that I can shift the perspective, but before I didn't know this, I would stay with the same thought for days, for weeks, for months, for years. I mean, this means that 5 years down the line, I think that thought again and I still get triggered. Not cool. We don't want that. We can change that. The thought can still be there. As you mentioned, the thing could have happened and that's not going to change. But the way I react, the way I respond can change. So, yes, if we keep a lot of energy accumulated here with thoughts and stuff and worries, we might develop migraines and headaches, right? Stomach pain, lower back pain. I mean, yes, it can come from posture, but posture, by circulating the microcosmic orbit, will open you up and will help you with posture as well. I mean, it's a holistic, it's really holistic. So, yes, stagnant energy can manifest in this ease. We want ease of flow. When there's no ease of flow, this ease can come and show up, which we don't want.
Yeah, this absolutely makes sense. So first thing would be like getting aware of this, that okay, I have some red block here, and then I need to move it. So basically, you become aware, change the perspective, like start changing the story. But how do you actually get into this action part? Are there like any specific?
Yes, that's correct. Actually, yeah, I do talks every second week to help people. First, as you said, is awareness. These things exist and you can use, and it's very simple. You just need yourself. Second is awareness of your state. If we want to shift to something, we want to know where we are, and we need to know, want to have clarity of where we are going. So then we can start building, a path, right? So that's the first step. Then, if we talk about this technique specifically, the learnings is, all right, we use very simple breathing, movement, and then the actual practice, which is actually a meditation, right? You can do it seated, standing up as well, or in the bed. I think seated is the most common one. But what we do is, I can share with you right now, for example, just a little breath in and being conscious. I mean, our body is breathing for us all the time, beating the heart and doing all the things that it's doing. And how do we give back to our body, right? To start with. So we can start with a breath. Just breathe in and breathe out. And just with that, I'm already feeling better. And I will take it even further and I will say, okay, let's first exhale and feel the energy going down to the pelvic floor. And that's the start, or one side of the macrocosmic orbit, actually. When we exhale, we are creating space. We are letting things out that we don't need. And then when we inhale, the energy must come at the back through the spine. And that is when we receive. So we start just with our breath, guiding the energy, right? This is very easy. We can do it. We can be driving and doing it as long as you don't go into meditation, just breathing, right? Always being safe. 1, 2, 3 breaths will already make a change. Then I use Qigong, very simple Qigong movements. You can either tap on certain points, you learn which points to tap onto, right? Depending on what you need, what you want. And then you can actually start with a microcosmic orbit, where what you do is you ground yourself. This is what we do in the workshops. We ground ourselves, and then we use our inner vision to come into the specific points. There are 13 points around your body doing this loop. So we want to activate them, and we do that with our inner vision. We look at these points, and they get awakened. Energy starts moving. There's this intelligence is innate in us. It has its own. We have IQ. We know all intelligence, IQ. We have EQ, emotional intelligence. Also, a lot of people speak about. We also have BQ, body intelligence, right? And this energy intelligence, it has its own intelligence, and we know this. If we get a very small paper cut, we don't do anything for it, right? Obviously, if it's small, right? It heals. The body is constantly healing. If we change from the parasympathetic state, which is fight or flight, into parasympathetic state, which is rest and digest, that's when we grow, repair. So with the macrocosmic orbit, this is what we do. We allow the energy, we awaken that energy that is there, and then we cultivate, we bring energy from the cosmos, from the out and inside, and we allow it to circulate, and then we store it. We have certain storage places within our body, and that's the aim of the game, to store the energy, so then you have it with you, and when you need it, you use it.
Okay. So you said 13 points. In many cultures, number 13 is kind of like unlucky
Oh,
and not so well seen. So why 13? Is this
well,
the magical number
actually,
here?
many ideas, but for the Chinese, 13 is actually a lucky number. I know that for Western is unlucky, but actually it's lucky. 13. And the thing is, we have more points. We actually have like around 365 points, and that goes with the amount of days in the year, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one for
So,
each
but
day. Yeah.
different points are for different things. For example, the macrocosmic orbit is a basic thing. It's the beginning, a way of starting, right? That's the foundation, because you want your bigger streets, your bigger channels to be open. You want your spine to be open because we have the nervous system that supplies every organ. So you want that to be open. And then you can start focus on the rest, right? You in here you have all your main organs and you want them to be moving around. So yeah, why 13? We have, well, I don't really have an accurate answer for this, but it has to do with the months of the years. And I know we have 12, and there are 12 meridians, but it has to do with the cosmos, actually, because the calendar also came from the cosmos. Taoism is very related to the stars. They say that the initial energy comes from the stars, right? From above. And as I was saying, they learn a lot about us by mirroring nature. So that's how they have been learning. And this is thousands of years of passing on information from generation to generation. And it was like literally word of mouth. So yeah, 13 points is just the start. It's a really nice foundation and a really nice, easy tool to have in your toolbox to promote your own healing.
So 13 is already like quite
100%.
enough for
In
people to
fact,
start
you
working
can
on.
start and with 1 2 points, and that's enough. As long as you know the basics, you can always, the basic is that you always bring the energy back to your navel. You could, if you want, you have maybe 3 minutes, but you want to cultivate a little bit of energy, just breathe in, breathe out, ground yourself. The more you do it, the easier it is. You put your hands on your navel just for awareness. You bring your inner vision, you stay there, and you finish your practice there. You want to go to the next point, you do it, but then you finish, you come back to the navel. So Literally, you can do it for 5 minutes. Ideally, you do it for 15 minutes or so, or even longer if you have time. But we know we live in this system that we are always doing moving action, time, schedules, meetings, right? So we want also to for it to be practical for the lifestyle that we want to generate or have. Yeah.
So the navel point is super, super important. But other than that, is there like some kind of either what points to focus on, or does it depend on like a person? For somebody, maybe some points are more important than for another
Okay, the first
person.
thing that
How
we
does it
want,
work?
as I was saying, is the flow in the entire body. And the body will actually know where to put more emphasis because, as we say, the energy is intelligence. Your body is intelligent and knows what to do. That's the first easy answer, right? Now, yes, once you learn the points, you can go from the navel to the Mingmen point, which is the opposite, and you can balance yin and yang, right? You can balance it. Sometimes we have too much yin or too much yang. For example, too much activity and we need to slow down, we can't, or too much rest. We feel like, oh, I cannot get out of the house. And okay, we need a little of activity. You can balance that. So you work on those 2 points. Then another one that is super nice is the triangle, I call it. So this we learn in the advanced course because there's so much that we can learn. But you can focus on the navel. We normally start on the navel, then the Ming Men, which is the opposite to the navel, and then the eyebrow. So you are balancing those points. If you really think about it, it's like a triangle. Can you see a triangle? And you want balance in your life. You want that balance, that yin and yang that is balanced. You mentioned it's a circle. It's perfect, a perfect circle. Not that life is perfect, but the idea is circulation and balance. And for example, if someone has a headache, naturally we do this. We come and we touch, or you bump your knee, or you have knee pain. You will go and put your hand there. It's natural, it's innate in us. And that is bringing awareness for the blood energy to come and heal, right? So it's the same concept. So, yes, you could go to a specific point for something specific, even maybe it's a headache here or back in the neck, could be anywhere, and you can go straight to that point as well if you need. But first, what you really want is to circulate it. You really want to circulate it.
And if somebody has like some kind of health issue, there are like specific points to focus on. Like for example, for migraine, you're focusing more on the head. You have some stomach pain, you're focusing more maybe around the navel.
Yes.
Or is are there like specific protocols
There
friend
are,
this?
yes, there are. What, for example, if you know where the points are located, that will also give you an indication of what type of diseases this will help. Imagine if you have upper respiratory, like cold, flu, viruses, those things up here, right? That means that this part is congested. Literally, we use that word in the medical Western as well. It's congested. The energy is stuck here. So we want this to move, so it moves out. Because we are all also we are leaking energy all the time through the ears, the mouth. I'm speaking, the breath, urine, like when we eliminate sweat. So energy is going away. That's why we have to cultivate and move it. But to answer your question, yes, actually, there's look. A little disclaimer here, this is not a diagnostic tool, and everyone needs to go and see the doctor, ask for the doctors, and follow the protocols, right? But we've seen that things change. For example, for high and low blood pressure, there are certain points where you can actually focus, but the easiest thing is if someone suffers from high blood pressure, it means that the energy is mainly here. So what you want to do is take this energy down all the way to pelvic floor, legs down to the floor. And that's one thing you can do. And you have points very low, like pelvic floor, around the ovaries, the navel, you have the coccyx. There are all these points that are very low. So you want to bring it. Where intention goes, energy follows. Where energy follows, blood follows. And when blood follows, waste goes out the body and nutrients then go as well, oxygen, nutrients. So high blood pressure, you can just bring the energy down. Low blood pressure, bring the energy, focus on this area. This is another point. You bring it here. Where energy goes, blood follows, right? That's kind of a really amazing example. I'll tell you, if we have time, I'll tell you something that happened to me. I was in the sauna, and I like to sometimes do things in the sauna, meditate, or, I'm always doing these practices. And I was practicing the cosmic, microcosmic orbit. And at that point, I was on the pelvic floor, right? That's called the perineum. That's one of the points, point number 3. And then I was waiting for someone, so they knock, and I looked, and I sat. I was laying down. I sat, and then I stood up and went down like 3 steps. Fine. I didn't have to do that so quick, and I didn't have to walk out also so quick from a very warm environment. I walked out and I blacked out, but I was next to someone, so it was fine. Then someone from inside came out, put me in a chair, pulled my legs up. It was a few seconds, because I realized very quickly what happened. I was consciously taking all my blood, all my energy down. And then I stood up too quickly. There was no energy or blood or, on the top of my body. So, yeah, it works very quickly, very quickly. And the more aware we are, the more we know our body, the better we can handle. It has to be a nice relationship. Our body, as I was saying, is here supporting us, breathing for us, pumping the blood, and all the things that it does, digestive, all the systems that we have inside. What do we do for the body?
Yeah, so if somebody listening now is like, oh my god, this sounds cool. I want to connect with my 13 microcosmic points and I want to know more about myself. I know that you also have this 3-day experience, and I really love this format where you take people through this experience in 3 days. It's like two, very intense. And after this, you're kind of like supporting them for another month. So it's kind of like you give them all the tools and then you give them like 1 month to practice and make a habit out of this a bit
Yeah, thank
more
you for that.
is about.
Exactly. So we meet 3 days for 90 minutes each day. And then we start with the basics, understanding what it is, how to use it. And it's an experience. And, this, for me, the aim is an experience. It's not just giving information. You will experience the whole thing, experience yourself. You'll get a lot of awareness about you. What's your state? If you want to make a shift or a transformation, you need to know where you're at, as we were saying. So a lot of going in, understanding where each one is at, learning how to awaken these points, moving the energy, feeling the effect, because the first day we do a test drive where I guide everyone through it. And then we also check, how do we feel before we start? How do we feel after we did it? It's amazing. Every single time, after not even 5 minutes, because then we do just the breathing, people are already feeling different. So this is the power that we've got. We've got the power in our breath to change our state for a more supportive state, so we can live on purpose, going and leading the world and doing whatever we want to do. So in these 3 days, the first day we experience it, we go very deep, we learn the whole thing. And I like to teach you or to share with you the entire practice, so you've got it. Then the second and the third day, we go even deeper into, we go 6 points in the second day and the other 7 points on the second day, because every point has a lot of things. As we were saying, there's a physical side of it, there's a mental side of it, there's an emotional side of it, and we go deeper into what potential diseases, I like to call it disease when there's no ease of flow, may arise when that point or that area is congested and stagnant. And like I was sharing just right now, blood pressure, diabetes, and like sugar, there are points that helps with sugar regulation. And I mean, our body knows what to do. We just need to support it so it can do what it's meant to do. Yeah, it's very powerful. And then, as you were saying, yes, all good that we're doing 3 days and there's already big change, but we want to apply this, implement it as a routine, as a habit. So yes, there's a group that we are there all together. People can ask questions, share how they're feeling, also find accountability partners, which is very valuable. Some people that are on the same journey, right? And then some others prefer also to work directly with me with a specific thing that they have. That's also a possibility. If there's a match, we connect. My mission is to share these tools for people to use them. Things that I believe children that are 3, 4 year old should already know. I mean, they know, but continue and be conscious and to keep on doing it for the rest of their life.
I should start practicing on my niece. She just turned 4 a few months ago,
Yes,
so it's like
practice,
okay.
of course. Yes, you must tell them.
Yeah. So yeah, you said something about sugar cravings and that kind of stuff. So I guess many people are really struggling with, the cravings and wanting to eat the crappy food, the sweets. It also happens to me.
Mhm.
I'm somewhat of an emotional eater. So you that these points
Yes,
can also help with that,
yes, because if you think
regulate the
about
cravings.
a craving is actually an imbalance of something. And so the aim of circulating your energy is to create balance. How long it takes for you, how it affects you, how you respond is your own unique experience. That's why I call it an experience. For example, when we are circulating the energy, some people feel tingling or a warmth or even cold or nothing, but the energy is still moving. There's something animating us right now. So it's that energy that we are plugging into it. So as a foundation, if we think about it, if the river is flowing, there's no need for more water or for anything extra because it has all it needs. And a craving, it could be, yeah, as you said, emotional, and I know about that too. You just eat for an emotion. Or maybe we need a certain thing that the body actually physically needs as well, right? So, yes, it can definitely help you because it will help you balance yourself. And I've seen this, I'm mentioning things that I've seen change because you're regulating also your hormones by moving. We need to understand that all we're doing is allowing, opening up the channels and allowing our own energy to move. So when we are moving the energy, as I was saying, energy goes, blood follows, blood first takes all the waste out. And I have to say this, and I experience this as well. When we are detoxing, whether it's emotional detox or physical or food, whatever it is, the process while we are detoxifying might not be the greatest. Because if you think about it, toxins for a moment will be going out of your body, circulating inside you, and not nice. But once they're out, you are a different person, right? So it does help with what's needed. That's what I can say. And then, yes, if there's something specific that you want to focus on, then with all this more knowledge that you'll gain, you can start focusing a little bit longer or differently on a certain point. So you can favor that flow where you need it the most.
Yeah. And what kind of people would benefit from this? Is it like for everybody, or like you said, it's for busy
Yeah.
people,
Well,
CEOs, and that kind of
uh,
people?
of course, it's for everyone, but my focus is, yeah, to work with people that are super busy. First, because, well, and people, I'm talking about leaders, CEOs that, a lot of responsibility at work, at home, socially, burnout, overwhelm, stress, and all these things translate into digestive issues, migraines, and then we go to the not so nice, like the big ones, the cardiovasculars, the cancers, and right? So I believe we can prevent these things. And I love working with leaders because leaders are in that position where they're communicating and sharing their passion and, the growth with a lot of people. So they had their own energy available so they can share it. So when we work together, they go back into their original self to be able to express. Yes, I tend to work with people that are very, very stressed, mainly stressed, burnout, and overwhelmed for this reason. But in reality, as you were saying, you can share this with your nieces, they will love it. Doesn't matter how old you are. So I don't like to restrict it to this type of people or that type of people. Everyone can learn it. It's very easy. And children, I think they love it the most because they know it, they can feel it.
Yeah, I'm just imagining how I would not make, but how I would convince the 4-year-old to try that. I'm like, okay, breathe, and maybe that would work, but I will have to try once I go back to Estonia just to try, okay, try some breathing stuff with her. And just to figure out if she's, following the instructions when I tell her to breathe. Does she actually know how to breathe in and
They
breathe
know
out?
a lot of fun. What you
But
can
that
do
can be
is
like a lot
use
of
a
fun.
visual cue like this around the body and say, when you exhale, your
Hmm.
hands goes down. When you inhale, your hand in the back comes up. You can see, visualize. Ideally, it's not a visualize outside, it's inner vision. So what you want is to take your inner vision inside. The points are around 4 centimeters in depth, the energy points. You can visualize them as a bright white yellow pearl. So you can tell your niece, okay, just see this little ball of light inside. Just play with it. I mean, they have even better imagination than us. Not better, it's just like they allow it to be explored, And just tell her to just look at that little pearl. Just look at it. And that pearl is inside your body. And if you cannot take your inner vision to your navel, okay, take your fingers and touch your navel. Just give a sensory input, awareness. Okay, and you just play with it. Just play a song that they like, they can move, that's fine. And see what happens and maybe explain. You could feel some warmth, a tingling. And normally, what happens when you practice this, that energy moves on its own to the next point. Magic when that happens. It's like,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, really have to
So you'll
try.
be surprised. Try with your nieces because you will surprise how open they are.
Yeah. I guess the baby won't understand. The baby is like 6 months, but a four year
But they see
old, I can talk to her. So
them, and
understand
I'm sure the
already
6 months
something.
old is already doing it. Remember what I said? We are already doing this in the womb before we even have a heart. So we know this. We know this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
like you said, it's all about remembering who you are. It's not about discovering, it's not about
Exactly. It's
learning something
remembering. Yeah.
new, it's remembering. So why do we
Oh, great
forget?
question, right? Maybe it's part of life,
Yeah.
so we can have an adventure. I had that question before as well for myself. It's like, well, I don't know. But once we go in and we allow, things just happen. Things just come out and you don't even know where they're coming from. Oh, this is my experience and what I believe.
Wow. Okay, so where can people find you if they feel like, okay, that's for me, I want to work with Luciana, I want to know more about
Well, I
her.
do
Where are you
most of my thing
located?
and most of my clients remotely. So I work a lot online. You can find me on my website, lucianapierangeli.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. You can email me happily. We can connect on my website and also on social media. You'll find my latest workshops. You can also connect with me in the newsletter, and then you'll get all this information. And yeah, I will be super happy to have you and anyone who wants to join because I do believe that, yeah, everyone can live on purpose when they are in line, emotions, and flowing. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, I will put all the links in the show notes, descriptions,
Yeah,
people
thanks.
can just go and find them wherever they are watching or listening, Spotify, YouTube, different platforms. So you can find all this information in the show notes. So thank you, Luciana, for talking about this energy and right, you telling us something from a different angle because shift can happen from these things that you already have within you. And it's all about remembering. It's not always about some kind of external pressure. It can come from the inside once you remember who you are. So thank you for that perspective. It's
Thank
fresh
you.
again.
Thank you, Silja, again for having me here and giving me the chance to express and to share. Yeah, I'm feel honored. Thank you.